Did you collect some soil moisture and you collect some, yeah? Okay, and the rest of you guys were busy, yeah, doing the controlled environment research in here. Nice. I was running around. I worked up a sweat out there. Okay, does anybody have any questions or reflections based on your experience so far? Should we just keep moving? Did the form make sense for the soil moisture? Is it? Yeah, how long did you sit for? It said for a few minutes, so I was doing some guesstimating, I think, but. Okay. So what we haven't talked at all about is deploying with Aggregate, and there's a lot of good documentation online about this. So I'm going to, I think, skip that discussion, but we use Aggregate in terms of the smartphones for water, and one of the things that we're trying to do is think a bit more creatively or constructively about where these data end up, right? So it's really cool that we have this Google Drive version where you guys can just launch your own data collection, collect your data, come back and analyze it. But where does that data go when you're done doing whatever you do with it, right? It's on your drive. Yeah, I mean, probably no one's ever going to use it again, right? And maybe that's okay because maybe there's not a lot of value, but maybe there's actually some value in that data. And maybe it'd be cool if the next person that studied what you were studying had access to all those data in one spot. So at least what we're doing in Nepal, I think it's much more challenging here, but is try to be more systematic about any young researchers when they go do research. We provide this Aggregate and this ODK as a platform for them. We train them how to build the forms. We host the form for them. We help them quality control the data, maybe think about their experiments. Then they go out and collect the data, and then their data ends up fitting into like a broader effort, right? So like if they're studying water quality in the Kathmandu Valley, we already have 3 years of data. They can have all of that, and they can add their little data to that, right, bigger picture. And in that way, we're kind of more systematically utilizing these data. And so it's really exciting because the Hogeschool in Rotterdam has kind of, thinks this is a good idea. And they're starting for every single one of their classes that goes and collects data. They have their own server, and it's actually for all of the Netherlands. So you guys could use it, anybody doing research. And it doesn't even have to be in the Netherlands, but if you want kind of the data to reside, in this one server, you could do work internationally, but it would all end up on this Netherlands server. Then that would be something I think we should think about making open to you to just streamline this process. And it's not so much that it makes it easier, but it's that you're adding value to like a broader effort and maybe extracting some value from that broader effort. So that's kind of the pitch, for me, is to think about, when you're teaching a course, to be more systematic about where those data are going. When you're doing your own research, to think about how to add those data into a bigger framework. And if anybody is interested in doing something like that, one of these forms we have in here, I think it's this one here, is just like a template. So we kind of have like a template for using this service, I guess, or whatever. And honestly, I have no financial desires at all with this. What my hope would be, though, is at some point we can subsidize the work in Nepal with researchers here, like some very small little charges for this, so that money could support what's happening in Nepal. So that's kind of part of my motivation with this, but I have no idea how that would work, and I'm just kind of thinking out loud. This is like a template that you could use, then just fill in kind of the blank here for whatever you want to collect. And then this is all kind of compatible for the system that we've set up. So I don't know if it's a good idea. It might be interesting. I'd love to chat if you guys have feedback about that. So the very last bit about this then is like, where does this data end up if you ended up using this Netherlands server, or if you were doing research in Nepal, and how would you interact with that? Does that make sense? I feel like we should have a discussion on that. I don't know if that was a compelling argument or not argument, but idea. Yeah, is that going to work? I mean, you guys are the researchers. Would that help you do your research if you just had something you could just fill in and give to somebody and then go and collect the data and then have access to it? Or yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting, and we can collect the data. But one thing is, like, if we want to measure, like, for example, water quality.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot say yes or no. I have to show kind of.
Oh yeah. Thanks. Yeah. No, you can just keep going. Don't.
Yeah.
So you were saying if water quality and then.
Yeah, if we want to measure the water quality, like
Yeah.
for example, like pH,
Yeah.
that is very easy one. I
Yeah.
cannot ask that is yes or no. So I have to show kind of like application or kind of like material, but how I can make this.
Yeah.
Because that is kind of like question survey form.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for this kind of application,
like
how I can
numerical
use.
data you're
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Yeah,
measurement.
yeah.
Like soil moisture we measure, but just really general,
Yeah,
like it is
it's
dry or
qualitative.
rough
Right,
or
right,
like
right.
kind of yes or no, that's it.
Yeah. So an example of what you're saying would be the rain measurements, right?
Yeah.
So we had that gauge that said 38 was the reading.
Yeah.
That's like an analog gauge, but there could also be a digital meter telling me 38.
Mm-hmm.
The way that we work with that is you could spend a lot of time trying to get like a digital connection between the meter and the app, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we think it's easiest to just take a picture of the measurement.
Mm-hmm.
It could be any meter. It could be a pH meter, DO meter, analog gauge, a ruler, whatever. Take a picture of it and then have the person put the number in.
Okay.
So see, so like if you have a pH meter,
Yeah.
you want to measure the pH in the field, go measure the pH with it in the water, take a
Yeah.
picture of it,
Yeah.
and then type the number
So-
in on the next screen,
Yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah.
you have
I
it. Yeah.
understand. So
Yeah.
it's me like if we want to measure the pH,
Yeah.
then we have to provide pH meter for the.
Yeah, or a test strip maybe. You
Yeah.
can measure the pH with the test strip.
Yeah,
It's
that's-
completely
that's
up
I
to
want to
you
know.
how you measure it.
Yeah.
We want to measure things as cheaply and easily as possible so we can do a lot of the measurements.
Yeah.
But you can use like a 500 euro pH meter. If you need really accurate data, just take a picture of it and put the number in. Yeah. So that's the API is a photo kind of in terms of like how, and it's really, low level and not very intelligent, but we think it gives you enough information to build a high quality data set because you can then compare those numbers and correct them if you have to,
Yep.
right? So yeah, any other thoughts, questions? No? Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it goes with Rotterdam, in terms of, how the students react and, how the faculty takes to using this and stuff. Yes, yeah, I think she has the box. But
Well, yeah, I've been using another app, the Agfo app,
Yep,
and that's like really useful for water quality and
Right.
those kinds of measurements. So what is the advantage in using ODK?
Akvo
Yeah,
is €1
yeah.
per measurement.
Okay.
Yeah, the other thing is Akvo, they're kind of, they think it's a really good idea to have the test strip, right? And then like the color reference, and you do your test, and then
Yeah.
you take a picture, right? And then it uses some machine learning to match the color, and it gives you the result, right? Well, that took a lot of development time to figure out how to do the machine learning, and half the time maybe it doesn't work, maybe. But I'm pretty good at matching colors, right? I think I can train anybody to match a color, and if you take a picture of it, if they make a mistake, you can fix it. So I think the benefit is that we're trying to do this for just as absolutely cheap, free, hopefully, as possible, and trying to do it in not so fancy of a way, I guess. Yeah, but I don't know if that answers your question. But yeah, Akvo is definitely someone who's doing something like this. But yeah, I mean, they're a company trying to, turn a profit. I think we're just trying to systematize data collection and kind of scale that. But yeah, I think good catch.
Relax. We will. I don't mind. Anybody is in a hurry?
I think
see,
Nick's got to
nobody.
go at 4:10. So 8 minutes.
I'll be quick. I think I completely agree that I'm not really a fan of Agfo actually. I think what they do is cool, but it's definitely not usable in the way that that you are using it in Nepal, for example. And the idea, of course, with ODK is that you can just create a list online, isn't it? It's not a measurement device. It's a tool you use when you already do the measurements with anybody else. So it's easy to spread information and get it to one point.
Yep.
And I think actually for your data server, are you also thinking of, for example, students going on a thesis abroad just on one person that also has data and that can collect it into your server? Because I think it's also usable for that, not only if you take into account more citizens, but
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what we don't want is like this draconian sort of set of ununiform data of different, just different formats and everything. So, I mean, what we've tried to do is make one form that lets you measure a whole bunch of different things, like in a systematic way. Like you said, you can use any sensor to do that with, and just take a picture of it. And so that covers like the water quality, groundwater level, precipitation, soil moisture, land use, like those sorts of things.
Yeah.
For the one-off studies that are really specific to one researcher, maybe it's not so interesting to add to this, but...
No, what I mean is, for example, if you have that template,
yeah.
and a student goes somewhere with a specific question but needs also that data to answer that specific question,
Then please,
he doesn't need perhaps all the other data in that, but he can still upload his data as well while he is there collecting his own.
Exactly.
Maybe it's only part of what he's collecting,
Exactly.
but yeah.
It might be metadata for his research, but like, or his or her research, but it all aggregates and ends up in this one spot, in a systematic way. Excellent. Yeah, oh, nice. Almost had to go over the shoulder for that one. Yeah, so I mean, I think you guys all have that form, the S4W NL form, and that's kind of, that has, it's the form that has a lot of kind of the generic kind of, data types you might want to record in terms of water. So just take a moment to look through that. And if there's anything that's interesting in there for you to measure, just start measuring it. I mean, you have the form. Like I just took 5 or 6 soil moisture measurements. Whenever I go to Nepal, I love taking groundwater level measurements and doing some flow measurements out on the springs and stuff. So 5 minutes. Let me just show you. Okay, so all of that data ends up in an aggregate server. If we show you that, this picture here that we've been working off of. And we've really been spending a lot of time now, right, talking about this side of the equation. And I think it's a beautiful ecosystem that ODK has developed. But the interaction with the data and management of the data within aggregate is a little bit difficult, I guess. We found it difficult. So that's why we made our own system. And I can just, I'll just show you real quick. And again, this is a server. This is something that you guys can use if it's helpful. So Nepal, let's look at what do we want to look at? How about the main one? Yep. And then let's look at some precipitation measurements, maybe for the last since 2019. Okay. So this is not like a public thing right now. It's a private thing, and I did set up a little demo login for you guys. So if you want to either follow along or do this later, if you go to admin.smartphonesforwater.org and then just use this demo email and then the password's demo, it's really secure. Then you can sign in and view what we're looking at right now. So just play around with it. But here's some data points in the Kathmandu Valley for precipitation. So we use this again to see, is this measurement. So here's a precipitation measurement of 1, and then here's our image. And so that's a tough one, but okay, I believe it, 1. And then if that was actually 1, then we can change the quality control flag here. So I'm going to grab this measurement and in the table, UUID. Okay, so here was that record that we were just looking at. So now every single measurement we have like interns that are bachelor students in Nepal that look at all of the measurements, and then as they come in, they check the picture, check the value, and then change this QC flag and say like hard to read because the picture wasn't straight. Consider teaching the CS to take better photos. Okay, so I'm going to actually share that with one of our staff here, Anurag, and then say it's well, yeah, I guess that's not working. And then, yeah, so it's good, but now Anurag knows, okay, I need to talk with Meena and tell her to take better pictures. So this is what we use. I have no idea if this is, helpful for anybody at any point. But just figured I would give a quick, show of that. Does anybody have any questions about that? And then we have one or 2 minutes to wrap up. Yes, sir. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, ready? Nice.
Thank you. Yeah, my question is, so if we use the aggregate server, all the data come to this website.
Yep.
And then we can access our own data using the password demo.
Yep.
But we cannot make our own forms, right?
We can because Sarah knows how. You know how to do it? Yeah, Sarah knows how to do it. So
yeah, but that's for our university. But other users, they cannot make their own forms, so we have to use your forms, or otherwise we have to use our own Google Drive, right?
That's correct. Or start your own aggregate server yourself. Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't really know how it works in terms of like who is the gatekeeper. Like, does someone at the host school take forms from other schools or just from the host school? You know, I don't know how that would work. But someone kind of needs to be the person who controls what ends up on the server or not. But I think we have a big vision for this. Could be lots of different things if it's related to water. But you're right. You're right. Somehow it has to get onto this server, and not everybody knows how to do that.
No, but I mean, for example, if somebody outside our university want to make your own form with some different kind of data, so you cannot make your own form, right? Using this same server.
You could, but you would have to communicate with the team. Yeah. It would be like you'd have to build it. You'd have to use that template that I shared with you guys that has all the right questions to fit in with this. And then, like for instance, like with Ko here, like in Myanmar, if Ko wants to use this, then I would spend a couple hours to work with Ko to figure out what her workflow is, and then load it, and then she could use it and download the data and whatever else. But yeah, she did have to work with me or Sarah or somebody to do that. You're right. Yeah. But there's all sorts. I mean, it's open source, so you can spin up your own thing too. It's totally free and open source. So we're just trying to make it easier so people actually do it. That's the thing. But yeah, it would be great. Yeah, let's just officially end. So thank you guys so much for your attention and everything. After the official end. Oh no. Wow.